Ladies and gentlemen, the curse has been continued. Here we go. I have no voice. We're going to try to keep this short.
Yeah.
But holy smokes.
Wow.
We got to win for the Canadians in Game 7. I feel the same way, bro.
What a series. What a series.
I mean, I thought we were down and out. I mean, most people probably did.
Yeah. Never. Don't stop believing,
never underestimate the words of Carey Price.
Never.
Definitely never underestimate the play of Carey Price.
Wow, he stood on his head this series, man. MVP.
Listen, the last game, I thought it was a very good collective effort. But, I mean, you can't look past the fact that Price was a 944 in games 5 through 7.
Yeah.
And that's not including the high danger chances. His high danger chances were probably like 97% or something crazy like that in the last 3 games or something. So, I mean, listen, at this point, it's pretty much Carey Price greater than sign any goalie in the playoffs. So, when you have a goalie playing like that, you never know.
Look, I'll take him out to any Game 7. No matter what age he is, I'm taking Carey on my team. I don't care. This guy literally just makes saves like it's no one's business. He just pulls them out of anywhere. Just makes them at the right time.
And really, you got to think about the way he makes saves. Now, again, I'm not going to get into the whole, why he's better and whatever. But just to give you a kind of quick thing, last game there was a puck that came from the back of the net to the front of the net, where Carey Price makes a save right in his chest off of a one-timer. Yeah. Looks super simple. It was a great save. About 2.5 minutes later, same play happens on the other side of the ice. Jack Campbell makes a great save, but hits his arm, goes up in the air. The guy ends up on his ass. It's the same exact play. The shot was almost in the exact same spot, in the exact same situation. And you could tell that there's a different level of play from one end of the ice.
Oh, yeah. Easily see that.
So, with a goalie like that, again, those of you who were alive for the 86 and 93 Cups, you know that basically Patrick Roy played out of his mind. And not the only reason they won the Cups. I mean, the 93 team was a very good team, but I think the 86 team,
the 86
was really the one that he stood out, and especially as a rookie, kind of won them that cup. But there is another little point I'd like to say, okay, about the players in the NHL. There are exactly 13 players that make $10 million and above in the NHL. And currently, of the 17 top paid players, there is one player left
in the playoffs.
And that player is Carey Price.
Carey Price.
Say what you want about paying a guy $10.5 million to be in goal, but he got the job done. And he definitely deserves the win. I think what might be a little bit understated today is actually the emotional beginning of the game when they had that moment of silence for the 215 children. Apparently on TVA, on the French station, you could tell that he was a little bit, shaken up. His mother, obviously a chief of one of the nations in BC. And, I said it before the game. He's already been playing exceptionally well, but I think he wanted to prove a little bit more in that, the lives of Indigenous kids, the lives of Indigenous people matter. I mean, this is a guy that comes from an Indigenous family or semi-Indigenous family, and he had to fly to games because he didn't have any way to get there other than his dad's, little plane. Crazy. And he had to go, 3 hours a day and 3 hours away every day, every practice, every game for the majority of his minor hockey career until he got to the Americans, Tri-City. So, kind of, again, lost in all of it was that kind of moment at the beginning of the game. But this guy's just unreal. And I don't want to talk about Carey Price the whole time, but you kind of have to just appreciate the fact that this guy is arguably the best goalie who's ever played the game, and definitely the best goalie who's ever played the butterfly position. That's I don't think that's even debatable anymore. But yeah, I don't know what else is there to say about him.
I think he's the best in our generation.
Yeah, easily. No, it's not even close to my mind. I mean, the only guy who's got more wins than him who's still active is Pecorine. Pecorine and Fleury, yes. Yeah, but then you look at the teams that Fleury had, and wins are a team stat more than they are an individual stat. But trust me, at the end of his career, Carey Price is probably going to have the best numbers in the playoffs by goalie for like quite a margin. I mean, even with the other guys that used to play, I mean, this guy's
he shows up.
just unbelievable.
Up, man. You just see like when it's time when it's time to play, man. He knows it's time to play, and he comes ready to play.
I mean, he's drafted 5th overall. He won everything. World Juniors, won the AHL, the Calder Cup in his first year. I mean, he's won the Vezina, he's won the Hart, he's won the gold, won the gold medal at the Olympics. Once or twice? Twice. Twice. So I mean, the guy knows what it takes to win. Actually, one Olympic medal and one world championship because we weren't allowed in the Olympics that year.
No,
that was the year with the because he wasn't in 2010. So 2010 was Roberto and Brodeur.
Yes.
And then 2014 was Price in the Olympics, and 2018 was the world championship because they didn't let them go to the Olympics, the NHL. But yeah, the equivalent basically is 2 gold medals on the world stage. I mean, he's big in the big moments. Obviously, with the Canadiens, he's got to make a little bit more saves than he did for Team Canada. But at the same time, he's been solid every game. I mean, there's no important game that I can think of off the top of my head where he cost us a win. Where he cost the Canadiens a win. And yeah, listen, I feel a little bit bad for Campbell, but what do you want to do, man? You can't.
I have no feelings because after that girl on Twitter was saying about Carey after.
Yeah, for those of you who do follow us on Twitter as well, we got blocked after probably an hour and a half of arguing with someone. I forget what her handle is, Leaps something or other, but she was basically trying to convince us that Campbell was having the better series after game 3 or 4. Yeah. And I'm pretty much all these stats other than save percentage and goals against indicate that he was. I mean, all the shots, all the high danger opportunities, all the high danger save percentage, all of that stuff was in Carey Price's favor. And it's just, you pass the eye test as well for those of you who are, hockey fans. The eye test is pretty much all you need most times to realize that one guy's better than another.
Literally, my point that I was trying to make to her just got proved. I'm like, if the Canadiens just give Price a little bit of offense, I mean, this series is over.
Carey Price is 12-0 when the Canadiens scored 3 goals on one.
We scored 3 goals today. Last game we scored how many goals we scored?
3.
Last game? We scored 3 goals. We scored 4.
The overtime goal was the 3rd goal.
Yeah.
And then the one before was 3 and then 4. Yes. Yeah. So 3. I mean, listen,
we get 3. Carey, we know we're good for the win.
Yeah. And again, the only thing that beats him is deflections and screens and impossible plays really to stop. And what I'd like to talk about later is just the fact of how Paul Maurice coaches his teams. Obviously, heading to play against the Jets in Winnipeg on Wednesday with not much rest time, it's going to be quite difficult, especially with a team that's as deep as they are up front, and the style of play that they do. That this is not a Toronto team. Yes, they have skill. Yes, their top 6 is fucking scary. But Paul Maurice is no pushover. Paul Maurice is no analytics guy. I mean, sure, they look at some analytics, but Paul Maurice is like, absolutely not, baby. It's old time hockey, and it's in your face, and it's be mean, and physical, and it's grind the other team down to a pulp, and that's basically what we did to the Leafs in the last 3 games. But now I think they're gonna have a little bit of trouble doing it against Winnipeg. Now we didn't fare badly against Winnipeg throughout the season. But I think their depth up front is going to give us some trouble. So we'll preview that a little bit later. And I guess I'd like to talk about, I don't know if you'd like to talk about it, but just the kind of the gamer mentality that our young kids have already. You look at guys under the age of 26. You have Anderson at 26. You have Jake Evans at 24. You got Kotkaniemi at 20. Suzuki at 21. Caulfield at 20. And you have Romanov, which I'm assuming will probably play on Wednesday just because they need to give somebody a rest.
Yeah.
So you're looking at these guys who, are going to be the core of our team for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. This is serious. Like these are some guys that play in big moments, and Suzuki didn't have outstanding offensive display today, but
no, he played.
Saw that every single time he had the puck, every single time he didn't have the puck, he knew where to be, he knew what to do. You know how to shut it down, and that's that. That's his that's his strength, is just knowing, I think, where to
like
play.
the last 3 games, like game 5, 6, 7, it's thanks to our young kids that we won.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Carried by them.
Well, Carey helped, but like it's them that got us the win, right? To score those goals. You know, Suzuki and Caulfield in game 5, KK in game 6, and now this game was a kind of a collective team
Yeah,
effort.
this was the most collective game, I think,
Yeah,
of
no,
them all.
Evans on that first line with Gallagher and Dano that shut down Matthews and Marner. That literally, I don't even know if they played today. They were nowhere.
Yeah, they did
right?
not have a good game today.
KK played a solid game too. Was physical. Was at the good place at the right time. Broke up a lot of plays. So I was impressed. That's what I like. That's what I want from him. That's what I want him to do. So it's good to see that. Suzuki, great on the power play. It was a big second goal. That's exactly the play we have to do. We pass it along the boards. Suzuki comes, he comes, curls on top. We feed him, shoot.
Yeah. I think the fact that we added an extra look that we didn't have in previous games. So in previous games, it was basically, okay, you have the one timer on the left side, or you have Suzuki coming down the wing on the right side. This game and last game as well, you saw mostly on the 5-on-3 when Toffoli scored his goal. But even before that, there was that play that came down low to the half boards, and instead of going up top, they would go to the middle.
Yeah.
Because they would Suzuki's good at, with his patience to draw that guy out and then give the puck to the middle, and giving the other team another look.
See, we didn't.
It's like, it's not always the same thing, which we weren't doing in the first 4 games. It was always the same looks. So between game 4 and 5, or between game 5 and 6, there must have been an adjustment of some sort in practice, where they said, "Hey, let's add another look where we can go down low, go to the half boards, go to the middle, instead of always working from the top." Granted, Gustafsson on that power play goal,
good.
It's kind of understated, and maybe it's not the hardest play in the world, but he's got to put that puck, in the right place and he one touched it. He didn't
just
he didn't stick handle. It was to him, right to him. So, as much as I don't want him in the lineup, that's an important play for him to make. And aside from the one egregious turnover at his own blue line that almost led to, I think it was Matthews.
I didn't find he had a bad game.
Yeah, he was quiet, and so was Kulak. And your third pairing defenseman, if they play 12 to 16 minutes a night and they're just quiet, that's fine. That's fine. So, our young guys, like we were saying, kind of carried us through, and I guess I'll ask you the question: who's the most impressive of the young guys, or who in this series has been the most impressive of the young guys? Yeah, the young guys.
What?
Who would you pick?
I have to go with KK.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. I think it's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I have to go with he stepped up. He steps again like last year. At the right time, he steps up and he scores those big goals. That overtime goal, because that overtime, game 6 in overtime, man, we were flat, and Toronto was all over us. A goal was gonna come. If we didn't score in the next 2 minutes, we were getting scored on. Oh, I had a feeling, and then he just came in and he did what he had to do. He got that goal, but or else
and the play off of Paul Byron, which that line I think just needs to stay a thing.
Yeah, they're
because it's just pretty much all out all the time. And what I love mostly about Byron, but also about KK and about some of the younger guys as well, is their back pressure is spot on. Like nine times out of 10, their back pressure is spot on. They hustle back, their sticks are in the right lanes, and they don't overcommit. They don't go below they don't go below our circles when they don't have to. Like their back pressure just to make sure, hey, you got to make a play, otherwise we're coming back the other way, because they're fast enough to do that. But they're also not going so far that they give them a gap, like the defenseman. And I was one of the first people to I was one of the people who really was like, okay, these gaps at the end of the season, at the end of the regular season, it's just unbelievably big. Like the gaps were huge. You're giving guys 3-4 feet of space, and I was like, listen, if this happens in the playoffs, you don't, guys like Matthews and Marner and Nylander, and Riley and Tavares. I mean, you can't just consistently give them 3 to 4 feet. Matthews scored 1 goal, sure. But the reason he didn't score any other goals is because he had less than 2 feet of space pretty much the whole fucking game from game 1 to game 7.
The minute he got a puck, We had a guy on him right
Dome
away.
was on there. Credit to the coaching staff who matched up the lines pretty well, and credit to the young guys that when they were on, knew where to be, knew how to make plays. I think for my answer in terms of most impressive, if it's not Caulfield, if it's not Kotkaniemi, for me it's probably Caulfield.
Yeah,
Because the kids got. I mean, the reason I say that is because Suzuki is going to be our best player, most likely. So like, it's not. Yes, he's impressive, but it's like not kind of overly stated. I mean, he's going to be a superstar in the league. I think
we know already. Caulfield,
we already know what he's going to be. Jake Evans wasn't in the lineup long enough for me to say he was the most impressive tonight. He had an amazing game tonight as well.
Excellent.
And I guess Anderson, is kind of a little bit on the older side in terms of the young. He's still 26, but he's on the older side of that young core. But I'd say Caulfield because, I mean, the guy. First of all, what a year for this kid.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, how good of a year could you ask for? And imagine if it wasn't COVID. Like, this guy would be ripping it up everywhere, like everywhere. But anyway, he's got 10 NHL games, regular season games. Okay, in a COVID season with no fans, nothing going on. His intelligence, just with his stick.
This is very
just being off the puck, just knowing where his stick should be in pretty much any situation, even in the defensive zone. And that's what Tony Granato was talking about. His coach at Wisconsin was saying you're going to see a lot more defensive structure in his game than he had last year. He was ready offensively last year.
Yeah, but
the guy was a beast. He just score everywhere. He had a shot from. He could have shot from half ice and he would have scored on guys. Like, he's just unreal. His release is unbelievable. But defensively was where his game was a little bit, struggling, and obviously he had to get physically more mature. Because at 19 years old, at 150 pounds in the NHL, not many guys that can cut it. So he grew a little bit. He put on some size. He's still a very speedy skater. He's very shifty and he's very sneaky. I think that's where he's going to get a lot of his goals, is just sneaking around, and then probably on the power play as well. But his attitude towards the game, and kind of also his game management, if that makes sense. I mean, usually you use that term for goalies, but I mean, he was out there with less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that. I was surprised.
And there's more than one play tonight that shows that he could easily just try to deke a guy, or he could easily just try to play a cute pass across the ice, whatever. But if he didn't have it, puck is in the air into the other zone, high in the air, flip the chip shots, flips off the glass. It's just simple hockey when it needs to be simple hockey. I think that's what his strength is going to be in the future, that he can actually be out there when the game is on the line without worrying too much about, hey, this guy's going to cost you a goal every time he's on the ice.
No, he made even this game, there's a couple of breakup plays on the defensive zone that he did.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh wow! I was like, wow, okay.
And like 90% of that is stick positioning.
Yeah.
So. Listen, they broke up a lot of plays today. All the young guys played exceptionally well in this series. Fresh legs for the most part, with Kotkaniemi not playing game one and Caulfield not playing game one.
And two.
Do you think they would have? Yeah, and two. Do you think they could have closed it out earlier? Is the question. If they would have played these guys.
But like I was saying on Twitter, I'm like, if the Canadians with Price would have got a little bit of offense in game, was it
games 2, 3, and 4? Yeah.
I think the series would have been over in 4, easy. Like,
well, 4, I don't know, because you still got to give some credit to those guys because they can play hockey. Okay. And again, game 7 they're out. They don't have Jake Muzzin. They don't have Tavares. They have Foligno, who should even be playing the game, and most likely Matthews is hurt as well. No excuses, right? I mean, it's the playoffs, and it's year after year that this core has disappointed that fan base. But you got to give credit to the Canadians as well for fighting back, for having that character, and Mark Bergevin just talks about character all the time. And if there's one series that could ever show you, what character your team has, I mean, this was it.
I'm down 3-1, and look, we were down 3-1, and if I'm not mistaken, game 3, we lost what, 5-1,
4-0, I think. No?
4-0. Fucking, we lose game 2 5-1, then we lose 5-1, 4-0. Where our backs against the wall, pretty much like literally no hope right? You're like, oh fuck, this game we're gonna come out, against in Toronto or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, Canadians, they battled game by game. They took period by period, shift by shift, and they just fought their way through. And Toronto, to me, it's just lack of experience. Just lack of experience of
Yeah.
not being
But,
there, and, not knowing how to close out a series, and you can see that it's clear.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you can give credit to guys that on our side that have finished off multiple series and obviously won it all. I don't know. I don't know what it is in Toronto. I honestly think
Look,
it's a lack of
goaltending. I knew going into this series,
yeah, of course.
goaltending was going to be the issue, right? And then if we shut down Matthews and Marner, this team ain't going nowhere.
Well, we said it, as the preview of the series. We said the difference between the team, the way the structure is in terms of Montreal, in terms of Toronto, is Montreal. If you don't score goals, well, okay, well you have defense and you have Carey Price, and really sometimes all you need is one goal with two goals. Like that Carey Price might be able to give you that win. If Carey Price isn't his best, well, our forwards we still have 3 or 4 30-goal scorers on our team. We still have a defense that can, at least Shea Weber can rip the puck and Petrie can rip the puck and move the puck as well. We got a couple of guys that can make some offense. Our team is more the Montreal Canadiens team is built on having 20 guys or 19 without the backup goalie playing, and all of them playing well.
Yeah.
That's I mean if one guy is not going one night, that's fine. Like you can whatever. But I think their side, much like a lot of teams in the NHL, you have that 2-3 weapons, and if those guys aren't going, you really have to you got to look at what you got. And so what we said at the beginning of the series, what we said at the beginning of the series was basically, if goaltending's not there, your team could fall apart.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If your forwards aren't scoring, your team could fall apart.
Because if your
if your defense is porous, your team could fall apart. And we saw in Toronto that their forwards weren't scoring, and their goalie wasn't playing. I mean, listen, again, he wasn't playing terribly. I mean, his stats are fine. Like they're not. He played well enough to win a series, not to steal a series. That's the difference.
I don't even think he played well to win a series.
No, he played well enough. In my honest opinion, I think he played well enough to win a series. But
I just saw that
your team's got to give you goals, man.
Yeah, I understand.
If your team gives you their team scored half of their goals in 2 games.
I know.
They scored 5 and 4 goals.
I know.
They had 17 before tonight. That means they had 18 tonight. That means half of their goals came in 2 games. That can't happen, man.
I know.
I don't care that you score 17 goals. I mean, whatever. You could score 10 in one fucking game, but if you're not scoring the other ones, it's irrelevant, right? So you gotta have that offense spread out.
Like what I mean to say is that he didn't come up with the saves when it counted.
Yeah.
That's the key, right, in the playoffs, right? See the like Game 7, the Gallagher goal. Oh my God, that was a terrible goal. 5 holes.
Yeah, that should never go in. Yeah.
Terrible, right? Our first power play that he gives up a goal. That's for the players, man. As a player, like coming from a player's perspective,
it's a momentum killer.
Your legs get chopped off, right?
Absolutely.
Let's say, I don't know. I remember what game was Game 6 or 5. Toronto got a couple of power plays in a row. They couldn't score. Montreal gets 2 power plays. Boom, we score.
Yeah.
That kills
special teams are very important as well.
And we turned it around, man.
Your best player on the penalty kill got to be your goalie. So that's kind of the mantra there. Credit to Burrows, credit to that staff. I think also not credit, if that makes sense, to the Toronto coaching staff and the Toronto players that in the first 4 games, Montreal had 0. And it wasn't even necessarily because Montreal was playing badly. Their penalty kill was all over them. All over them. Now, maybe they didn't score on the PK like we did in the first game, but we had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. If we got past the line, which was like 1 in 3 tries, they had guys hounding us, and I think that's the way you got a penalty kill in today's NHL. The guys are too good. The guys are too good for you to sit there in a box, man.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you're gonna have 1 in 4 that are gonna go in. I mean, in the playoffs, you might not get 4 power plays, but
open you up.
You sit in a box. It's not It's not
You can't
ideal.
you can't sit in a box against a team like Toronto, a team like
No,
Colorado,
against a team with against a
Tampa
team like
Bay, like
Colorado,
all
like
these
Tampa
teams,
Bay, like you
Boston.
look at you look at all these teams now that are making the playoffs. It used to be defense wins championships. It still is,
Yeah,
but all these teams are high octane teams, man.
yeah,
Aside from the Islanders, I mean, every team left in this series can score goals, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
these
Oh
guys
yeah.
could score goals.
Carolina and the Islanders are probably one.
Colorado, Vegas,
Yeah, Vegas.
Winnipeg, Boston, Carolina, and Tampa Bay. I guess maybe the only other team that whatever relies on one line really is Boston. So that Boston Islanders series
That's two
should be
lines.
low scoring in general. But yeah, I guess now with the addition of Taylor Hall, they have kind of two lines. But other than that, though, the other 5 teams, 6 teams,
Oh, they're
they could score goals, man.
retarded.
Montreal is one of the only teams I find that does it by committee.
Yeah.
Islanders and the Habs I think are very similar in that sense that they
Yeah.
don't rely on 3 guys to score goals every game.
They need a.
And I think a lot of teams, other than the ones that are in the playoffs and that have crazy good teams like on the front end and on the back end, like I mean Colorado's just unbelievably rich in talent. I mean it's not even fair. The only question mark is the goaltending, and then once you get there, you gotta okay, well let's get past first of all the line of Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's get past their second and third lines, which aren't bad either, and then let's get by their top 4 defensemen, which are like unreal at moving the puck and also playing defense. And then you got to try to get past Grubauer, who's been one of the best goalies in the NHL this year, the regular season.
Yeah.
You're talking about a serious contender, and so
that's a tough team.
Maybe they don't have the experience, so maybe they don't win it all this year. But I mean, for me, they're the team to beat, and it's not even close. Yeah. I think Tampa Bay, just because they won last year and because they have pretty much the same core, they might also still be favored in most series. But I mean, watch Colorado for 10 minutes, and you're like, this team is fucking incredible. The team they iced.
I watched them yesterday.
It's unbelievable.
The way they were moving the puck on the power play was just ridiculous. It was just
So that's a team that you can't take penalties against. Now, I don't want to talk about the refs because the refs have been atrocious in pretty much every series that I've watched.
Through them.
Today, I mean.
No, I actually want to ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead. I feel like eventually we have to open up to like some Twitter questions or something like a weekly questionnaire, like a weekly poll.
Yeah,
we can do a weekly poll.
Yeah, no, I was just
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, with now moving on, the Canadiens moving on to the second round, do you think Bergevin and Ducharme are back next year? Because I don't know, like in this series, people were calling for heads. People were like, "Get these guys out of here."
So the thing is, aside from now pretty much aside from the Drouin for Sergachev move.
Yeah.
I mean, name me a trade he's lost.
Yeah, there hasn't been a bad.
Name me a trade he's lost. I mean, he has not lost a single trade. There's some that maybe are even. You can maybe call the Pacioretty trade even because like Tatar's probably not signing with us this year, and Suzuki's the player that's replacing Pacioretty, but we get him for longer anyway.
But for those 3 years that we had Tatar, I think.
Exactly. That he produced at almost the same level as Pacioretty in the regular season, and then plus you have Suzuki that's going to be a stud. Of course, you win that trade, but I'm saying like, okay, but they also got Pacioretty, and he's been playing very well for them, and he's been very solid for them the whole time. I mean, what other trade has he lost that you can really say he lost? I really can't think of any. I mean, even you think of the small moves, Scandella for 4th, flipping Scandella for 2nd.
Yeah.
Like like.
Maybe at the deadline, like I don't know. I'm trying to think some deadline.
Like, is Stahl a bust now? That trade? Not really, because he played a fucking hell of a game today.
Now that we went on to the second round, I don't think so.
Right? Like, how was that a bust? It can't be a bust of a trade.
Maybe like what when we went and get Thomas Vanek.
Yeah, but like, what are you losing? You lost a couple picks.
I don't even know what we gave up.
Dude, he fleeced for Dano. He fleeced for Petrie.
Yeah.
He fleeced for Jake Allen. Like, dude, the guys, his trades are unreal, man.
Edmondson,
5th round pick. Edmonton's quietly been probably our best defenseman this series.
Oh yeah,
defensively for sure, and offensively.
What a steal!
Josh Anderson's a crazy deal.
Signing Toffoli.
Yeah, but it's a signing. Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, any move that's how many guys have we signed that we haven't been happy with? I mean, most of them are okay too.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple like Alzner was fucking
I think Alzner was probably the worst move that he's made is Alzner, and then second I guess is the Drouin for Sergachev move, just because Drouin's not playing. But if Drouin was playing, and even if he was playing okay, you can make an argument that like, okay, well, he just was trying to get offense and he didn't have an offensive team. Yes, he lost the trade, but if Drouin was producing, it wouldn't be like, oh my god, he lost the trade.
Yeah.
It would be like he lost the trade, but he tried to give up something to get something else, and he knew he had defensive prospects, so he tried to whatever. Again, 98 in this series would have definitely helped. 98 as in Sergachev in this series would be. I mean, it wouldn't even be close. I don't think the series would have been close because you have a fifth guy that can rotate in on the left side, and it's. You talk about Romanov and Sergachev being the defensive core. I mean, think about Sergachev, Weber, and Petrie, Romanov, and then you're talking about Edmondson and Sherratt on a third pairing.
That's dirty.
So you think about that kind of core, would have been unreal. But yeah, no, I think to get to the whole your question.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problem that people had with Bergevin is his philosophy. Okay, I think that's where people were like, oh no, because you're not scoring any goals and you're relying on Carey Price with 10.5 million and all this blah 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 blah. But really, they don't look at each detail and each move and each draft pick. I mean, he drafted. Yeah. I mean, we haven't drafted anyone. We don't have any draft picks in our lineup. Yeah, but who cares? You built a team that just beat the guys who had, I don't know, 4 top 10 picks in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? And none of them were busts.
Look, I think
Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Riley.
Yeah.
And there's one more.
No.
Anyway, whatever. I think he had 4 or 5 top 10 picks in 6 years.
I think as people were the results weren't there for the last 3-4 years, right? We haven't made the playoffs, and if we did make it, where we lost in the first round, and the last couple of years we've been really
Yeah, it's been inconsistent. Now
people are frustrated, right? People are getting frustrated. It's 9 years that he's here. It's like
hey, where's the winning?
We've waited long enough for you to build this team, right?
It's like the Trump presidency. Where's the winning, man? They promised the winning. Where's the winning?
But now.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, 100%.
Well, in my opinion, I think he comes back next. Oh, he has a.
Well, he's for sure. Yeah, for sure he's back. I think this summer. I don't think we're. I think this
summer we cannot afford to make him go into next season with a year left on his contract. I think we have to extend him either. I say give him an extra 3 years.
No, but to be honest, he's not going anywhere else. I mean, he loves this team. No, but he loves the guys he assembled. I mean, even if you wait till the last day, this guy's not going anywhere else.
But as a GM, you have 1 year left in your contract. You don't know if you're going to be there next year. How can you plan for the future if you don't know you're going to be there tomorrow?
Well, that's your job.
Yeah, but I think I would feel more safer knowing if I had
if I had a 2-year extension, a 3-year extension, something like that. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just saying that Bergevin has to come back. I think he comes back. I think we give him an extra year. I think Ducharme too comes back. I think we're going to give him a 3-year contract, and I think he deserves it, even though I've been hard on him.
Yeah, I think everybody's been hard on him, but you have to remember a couple of things. Like we mentioned when he took over. He took over, and I said, "How the hell do you want this guy to change your system?"
Yeah.
This is not a system that he created.
No.
We're not even playing a system he created. He's playing with a system that he tried to adjust.
Yeah, he just made little modifications here and there, right?
1 thing, 2 things offensively, 1 thing defensively, 1 thing on the special teams. That's what we're. I mean, the special teams is the only thing you could really completely change because the guys are so skilled they can pick it up.
I think we keep the same coaching staff.
For me, I do like Burrows. I think he brings energy. I think he's young. Luke Richardson has done a pretty good job with the defensemen since he's been here.
Yeah, no complaint. I think we're good. I think, yeah.
I think we have to give Ducharme a little bit of credit, yes, for the way he coached these last 3 games.
He adjusted, and it shows so much.
His strength, like he says, and like a lot of people said with him coming in, was his ability to adjust mid game and adjust in between games. And I think that's really what he's been able to do. For that reason alone, I think he can stay at least one more year.
Yeah.
I think if he has the chance to put a system in place, I think if he has rest in between games, again, we're going to talk about it 100 times for no matter how long this, it's never been done before in the history of the NHL to play 23 games or 24 games in 43 days. It's never been done. That's an insane schedule. I don't know how the guys aren't just deceased.
Yeah.
Like, insane. So, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt for the last 20. I mean, the 24 games, it's like you can't even judge him on the 24 games.
Yeah.
You could judge him on maybe the 10 games before that, but then you're like, okay, but how long does it take for a coach to implement some type of a system? You can't expect it to just, the next day, right?
Yeah.
So he needs at least 2 weeks. He got his 2 weeks, and then he got hit with 24 games in 43 days. So it's like he didn't have any time to adjust. He had no practice time since February.
They had
Zero practice time since February.
They had a total of 4 practice in those.
Like, what do you want to? You can't change anything.
Can't do nothing.
So I think that week we came out in game one. We came out pretty good in game one. Obviously, Price probably saved us the first game.
Yeah, we stole the game.
But at the same time, we got the goal in the power play, the penalty kill. I mean, and we got the one goal that we needed on even strength, and that's kind of what did it in the first game. And I think Paul Byron, for as much as I've criticized him too, is not criticized. You know what? I have no problem with Paul Byron. I've never had an issue with Paul Byron. He's one of our leaders. He's one of the players who he shows up every single game. He's one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player, behind maybe Anderson on our team.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that literally you can play him on fucking defense and he would know what to do. Like that's just the kind of guy he is. My only ever issue was his 3.4 million. That's it. That was just his salary. It's just I think he gets paid too much. But I mean, after the series, does he get paid too much? I mean, this guy he's unreal. No. That's another guy that's like you pay him and he shows up in the big moments.
Right. You're right.
I think more than anything, the Gallagher's contract is going to come back to bite us even more than maybe Price's or Weber's, because he's not the same type of player, right? So Price can figure out how to take care of his body. They can load manage 50 games. Shea Weber kind of the same thing. You can manage his minutes. Whatever. But Gallagher's got to be out there for 45 seconds, and he's got to give it all the time for 45 seconds, and then come off the ice. I mean,
you're starting to see it, right? You're starting to see it.
I mean, already you see it.
In the series, I already see it. Like he's
gassed every shift.
Yeah, he's
gassed every shift. And granted, he came back from an injury.
No, especially in the third period, man. I see that he's like a step too behind, and he's there, and he's like, he's extending his arm with his stick, like, because he had no legs.
Yeah, because he has to get there. He's got to do what he needs to do.
I wish him the best because I love how he plays, man.
Man, I mean, he's pretty much our unspoken captain, and I think he'll probably take the C once Weber retires. And I don't know. I mean, there's a couple guys on this team that I can really see as leaders in the future, and I think that's kind of a positive spot for us. So I guess I don't know if that's how you want to end it, but. Hey, huge win. Game 7. Our bracket's looking pretty good. We got one mistake so far.
One little mistake.
Obviously, the games were not correct on the games, but let me remind everybody, because we did a bracket before the playoffs started. Here are our Stanley Cup predictions. We had Colorado winning in 6. They won in 4. We had Vegas winning in 7. I believe they won in 7.
Yeah, they did.
We had Montreal in 7. We won in 7, and we had Winnipeg in 7. They won in 4.
Yeah.
So that side's 100% correct on the team winning, and the only one we have wrong on the other side is Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
who honestly I thought would have pulled it out, but unfortunately, again, goaltending kind of came back to bite them in the butt. And we're not going to get into their problems because I honestly think that their management probably was more of the issue than the actual goaltending, just the decisions they made over the past couple of years. But it is what it is. Boston's through against Washington, and I think the amount of games that we said, 5. Sorry, not 6.
Yeah, 5.
Carolina ended it in 6, I believe, and Tampa Bay ended it in
5.
5. So those teams are right. Now we'll see if the Islanders get past Boston, or if Boston gets past the Islanders. But I honestly think there might be a chance for this Final Four to be accurate, aside from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a matter. It's just a matter of if Montreal can solve the kind of Winnipeg offense first of all, but also the Winnipeg goaltending. So if we can solve their
And
goaltending,
if people thought that like Toronto was a tough series, like battle, like in the corners and like keep your head up.
no, I mean not even. I mean it's not even going to be close.
Not even close. So, like you're gonna see this series, our defensemen are gonna get hit a lot, and our forwards are gonna get hit a lot from the defensemen, and it's gonna be a tough series, man.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
I think I think the only place we can really take advantage is probably their fourth line, and probably their bottom 4D.
yeah,
Are so if their top pairings on with I think it's Pionk and Morrissey, those guys are pretty solid. But I think when you go down their lineup and on D, I think that's where you can that's where you should create the matchups and not against the forwards.
but then
Offensively speaking,
the question at the end of the day is gonna be if Hollaback decides to be
Vezina caliber or not.
he's
Now, in my opinion, and I think in your opinion as well, he's not
he's
a Vezina goalie.
he's another Jack Campbell. Like the way he positioned himself, he's just like, and he just throws himself. Like he's just
I think his issue is his. I think again, much like Campbell, and much like we were talking about Bobrovsky the other week,
no style.
the mistakes they make are technical mistakes, not mental mistakes. Mental mistakes is actually easier to fix than technical mistakes because technical mistakes is 20 years of compounding bad habits.
Bad habits, obviously, yeah.
So for a goaltender, that's an extraordinary thing to try to overcome. I still have bad habits from when I was 12. I mean, it's how it is. You grow up as a goalie, you try to fix them, but it's very, very difficult because that's how you learn how to play the game. That's how you learned how to get to the puck before the shot came to you, and just that's how you react. That's just instinctively that's how you react. So we'll see what happens. I think we can solve Hellebuck in general. Then the only other question is, can we stop Dubois? Can we stop Scheifele? Can we stop Connor? Can we stop
Ehlers?
Ehlers? Can we stop Wheeler? Can we stop Stasny? They're talking about a top six. That's probably the best top six in the league.
Yeah, probably.
In terms of depth, in terms of scoring, in terms of anybody can put the puck in the net. There's that's serious. And not to mention that Scheifele's probably the best two-way center in the league. I'm not gonna say 100%, but he's probably
he's a top five.
Yeah, easily the top 5 two-way centers in the league. So we'll see kind of what happens. We're excited for the series. In my opinion, we should be resting a couple guys. I think Romanov should come in. I think Frolik should come in. I think Lehkonen should be back in if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think we should give some guys a rest that have played some heavy minutes for us. And not that game 1 doesn't matter,
but you could risk.
But even like, do you start Jake Allen? Do you pull a Vegas and you play Leonard, right? Like
you don't want to get creamed.
The problem is you don't want to get creamed 6-1. But Jake Allen's been amazing against Winnipeg this season as well, right?
And he hasn't played a game.
I know, but he was important in St. Louis's run to the cup because he played a few games.
I guess we'll find out on Wednesday.
We'll find out on Wednesday, but the good news, knock on wood, is that Carey Price hasn't had any type of injury. Doesn't look uncomfortable whatsoever, and so that's good. I mean, let's hope he can hang in there, and let's hope that the guys can give him the 3-goal run support that he needs to win some games. Okay. Thanks for joining us this week on the Sports Junkies podcast. Huge win. I don't know how I still have a voice against the Toronto Maple Leafs, coming all the way back from 3-1. Once again to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Classic Leafs.
Game 7.
Classic Leafs.
Listen, I was trying to go through the whole episode without making fun of Leafs, man.
Classic Leafs.
But listen, they let 550 first responders in, and some people were saying might just be because they need them for when they choke. So, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, I think Toronto's got some serious questions to answer this offseason, and we'll see what it is. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you want to follow our Twitter, it is massively entertaining. Sports Junkies podcast. The handle's SJunkiesPod, and of course, you can like the video. You can share it with your friends. You can comment on it. You can let us know if we're doofuses or if we're the smartest motherfuckers on the planet. Either way, We love your comments. We love your feedback. And thanks for watching once again this week. And we'll see you after game 1, 2, 3,
Maybe
most likely
3.
at the end of next week. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, Frank.
Ciao.